Anti-Terrorism Act, and as well as the Trafficking in Persons Act. So these key legislations are very important in terms of compliance of our AML safety measures in the Gambia here. We have not, we have a challenge in terms of the DNA BP's supervisors, specifically real estates. Real estates are not still regulated in the country. However, they are a reporting entity. If you look at our anti-money laundering and combating of terrorism act, they should report, they are part of a reporting entity listed under the act to FIU, but they are required to be regulated. And we are working right now with the Ministry of Lands to ensure before you register a real estate in the Gambia, they must give you clearance. And you are cleared, and then you go to the register of companies to register you, and there is that database communication to ensure that they are regulated and a power is given to a body to be able to revoke license if they breach the rules on AML safety measures, legislations in the country. So the dealers in precious metals are also supervised by the geology department that actually supervises it. The casinos also, we have right now face proliferation of gaming and gambling, which is supervised by the tourism board. However, we have a challenge with online because we cannot supervise the online gaming, although individuals are not actually allowed to register an online company related to gaming in the Gambia here. But then an online gaming can go on in the country, but we don't have the capacity actually to be able to regulate what gaming go on online. Right now, that sector is yet to be regulated. I talked about also the virtual asset and cryptocurrency. It is also a challenge. We have yet to have a supervisors and a policy direction, whether we will prohibit or allow in the country. These are new revised requirement of FATF standard in terms of methodology and as well as the effectiveness compliance on AML safety measures in the country. So trustees and
Salamin.
Yes.
Hello, Salamin. Kindly
Yes.
give us your concluding remarks as
Thank
the
you.
time is up.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
So in a nutshell, this is an overview of actually the AML safety program in the Gambia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Salamin, for your time. And please, to all our participants, resource persons, and viewers on Facebook Live and other platforms, please note that you can note down your questions. You can send them via the chats, and they will be addressed at the right time. We have a Q&A session, so at the right time, all the questions will be addressed. So now I'll call on our next panelist. We have with us Mr. Aya Enes Sam. He is a director of internal audit in Sierra Leone, and we are pleased to have him here with us. Sir Enes, please, you are welcome. Hello, Sir Enes. Hello, okay. We will call on Sir Usman. Sir Usman, please, are you there?
Hello.
Yes, please.
Hello?
So we have with us Sir Usman Wada. He's going to be talking to us on the case of Nigeria. So, Sir Usman, please, you are welcome. Please carry on.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Usman, as rightly said. I'm from Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, and I'm here to present to present for Nigeria, our team Nigeria. Hello.
Hello, please, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. As we all know, Nigeria is a member of GIABA and also a coordinating a unit in relation to AML CFT regime in the country. To ensure effective compliance with FATF AML CFT methodology, Nigeria has developed and adopted several measures to address and counter the challenges of AML CFT. These measures will be discussed during my presentation. The first among them is the implementation of the recommendation 29 of FATF. Before 2018, financial intelligence units of the country is not an autonomous unit as recommended by the FATF. The unit is under a economic and financial commission that is dealing with all financial crimes in the country. But in 2018, the country passed a bill that established the autonomous FIU, which basically deal with all the suspicious transaction report, suspicious activities report, and all related money laundering, anti-money laundering, and terrorism finance dealings in the country. Immediately after the establishment of the units, there was an awareness, sanitization, and enlightenment on all the players in the country, the financial institutions, and the other players, the regulators, supervisors. So there was an improvement in terms of the achievement, the quality of the suspicious transaction reports and the suspicious activity reports. The quality of the report the unit received has improved both in the quality and in the numbers. And as part of the effective compliance, there was another development in order to achieve effective compliance. There was an establishment of the special control unit for money laundering. We call it SCUMO. It was a unit under Ministry of Trade and our Ministry of Trade and Investment, but it's a responsibility of that unit to profile designated non-financial businesses and professions, which are also now reporting entities. They are reporting their dealings the way financial institution reported. So this development bring us to fully implement the immediate outcomes. I would like to go through the achievement we made so far in relation to the immediate outcomes. I'm talking of IO3 that deal with the supervisions. We have a good numbers of regulators and a good number of regulators and supervisors. We have the Central Bank of Nigeria, the National Insurance Commission, a commission that deals with the insurance, and we have Security and Exchange Commissions. So this came up with the regulation related to AML CFT in 2013. And these regulations take all the recommendations into considerations and the effective compliance. And the operators, like the banks and the stockbrokers, firms, also came up with the manual. From that, it's an extract from the regulation. So, and this led to so many achievements. And NFIU in Nigeria is the center. It's like a secretarial of interministerial committees. And as part of this, to ensure compliance, effective compliance, the units came up with a joint examination, joint routine examination that is in relation to the stock exchange. So they look at the operators in this industry, and they sit down with them, they examine them, and they look at how they implement the compliance. And also there is they conducted a bi-monthly meeting of we have compliance officers across the banks. So the units came up with the idea of having a monthly meeting with this chief of compliance of the bank and look at where there is where to strengthen the effectiveness. They review their report in a month, in a daily activities, the report we receive from them. We look at it, we look at where there's need for them to improve the compliance, the effectiveness. Then every month, this meeting will look at those areas. And also the units, as part of the achievement, came up with the first advisory on the proliferation of financials. That is outcome number 2. The NFIU came up with this first advisory that the mandate was given to the financial institution that they should report all the financial activities of DPRK. That is the Steven the Democratic, the activities, the activities, financial activities of a sanction list, that like a country that deal in this reform of mass destruction, like Korea. Hello?
Please, you can hear
Hello,
you.
please, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah. Like People's Republic of Korea and like Iran, all countries that are on the sanction list related to the proliferation. So it's mandatory now by financial institution to report the activities, the financial activities of any of these of this country. Any transaction that deal with any citizen of this country, it has to be reported to the NFIU. In relation to IO2, that is the international cooperation, the NFIU, being a member of Egmont Group, is saddled with the responsibility of exchanging information between the member countries, almost 170 members. So as part of the NFIU implementation of this effective compliance, the country now is saddled with the responsibility, the units, sorry, to mentor the other countries within the region. Like currently, the country, the NFIU is trying to ensure a mentoring and the sponsoring the application of membership of these 3 countries: the Gambia NFIU, the Liberian NFIU, and the Sierra Leone. So this is in compliance with the international cooperation, that is immediate outcome number 2 as requested by the FATF. And also there is a domestic cooperation. As part of the recommendation 2 of the FATFA, which requiring the countries to put in place a national coordination measures on AML CFT, and in line with the resolution of the 6th GIABA Ministerial Committee, an interministerial committee of AML CFT was established, which is in Nigeria. The NFIU was seen as was given the responsibility to serve as the secretarial of this interministerial committee. And this interministerial committees review the country's NRA, and that is the National Risk Assessment, and address the emerging issues and update the national AML CFT strategies. They identify the issues, the loopholes where a work needs to be done, and also provide solutions, especially on the emerging issues that deal with this, the new trend of the money laundering, the cryptocurrency, and all the emerging issues. And it's also part of the unit's achievement. The country, looking at the recommendation 33 and 34 of the FATFA that deal with the transparency and beneficial ownership of legal persons and arrangements, our Company and Allied Matters Act, CAMA, was amended in early of 2020, and the amendments take the consideration of this beneficial ownership, because it affects a lot of how will I say, analysis for the cases on AML CFT. You find it difficult. It's not mandated before the amendment of this CAMA. It's not mandated for the company, the CAC, the corporate affairs, to show the actual beneficial, that is the true beneficial ownership is an issue, and the recommendation 33 and 34 talks about it, and part of this amendment, it's now give room for transparency and in the beneficial ownership. And there is a reporting issue. Most of the agencies, the financial institution are the one reporting they are the one report most of our activities, most of the activities of the financial dealing in the country to the FIUs. So it was a long regime before the units, before it got autonomous. The unit is receiving this STR and SAR in hard copy. If there is anything that needs to be reported, the unit receive it in those days in hard copy, and it's moved to a regime where they can burn the content on a CD, computer CD, and submit it to the unit. And also it reached a format that they can submit it in Excel. But as part of the effective compliance, now all the reporting entity, all the entities, financial institutions that report any financial dealing to our FIU, they report through an approved schema, XML schema, so that we can have a uniformity, and also the quality of the report and the data can also be achieved through that. And FIU usually conducted a standalone examination, that is regarding to the effective compliance. Sometimes NFIU, being autonomous, can conduct an standalone examination. They look at the players and the operators in the all economic sector, that is the financial, the security and exchange and everything. And they came up and they review, or they came up with the regulation regarding the AML CFT. And sometimes we used to do joint operation. That is, we will involve the promoters, the regulators and the supervisors, so that we can achieve the aims of the examination. And
hello, Usman.
Yes.
Can you give us your concluding remarks as the time is up?
Okay. I would like to conclude on these three major areas. the development of DNNFIBs, that is the school mall in the country. We have a school mall that's settled with profiling and even enforcing reporting to NFIU of this designated financial. And also we have the KAMA, a newly reviewed and enacted law that exposes transparency of beneficial ownership. And also the reportings, most of these designated financial businesses are now reporting through our platform, which is a good development. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your presentation. I will now call on Mr. Sina Kamagati. He is a
Hello? 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 I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, please, we can.
Okay. So can I move?
Yes, please.
Okay, so good evening, participants.
Good evening.
Yeah, if you can recap the topic so that we can align and share ideas at this point. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Kamagati.
Yeah.
This is Augustina here.
Okay, Augustina, please assist. If you can recap the topic so that we can align.
Yes, please. Lamin Jaju, he looked at the case of Gambia, and Osman looked at the case of Nigeria. So, Mr. Sina, you are looking at the case of Ghana. With respect to, on the topic AML CFT effective compliance in West Africa, the role of the regulatory and supervisory authorities, law enforcement agencies, and the private sector.
Okay. So what cuts across the regions that we are looking at is the fact that we all sit in the West Africa sub-region. And in terms of West Africa, a lot of our activities involving how we apply regulations and how we deal with compliance sit very well in the culture, our culture and our societal interrelationship. So for instance, if we look at Ghana, we have all the regulations that we need to fight money laundering and financing of terrorism. We have all the institutions, and the institutions we have were actually strengthened when Obama visited some selected countries in Ghana to indicate that what we need is strong institutions and not strong personalities. Now, that was for me very profound. Regulators have a responsibility. Now, these responsibilities well sit in the fact that after Act directive on AML and CFT have been enacted, we need to make sure that these do not just become a shelf discussion, but more importantly, these become documents of action. Now, if you come to accountable institutions where these transfers and these movements of value happen, we also have our responsibilities. If you go to the investigative authorities, they also have a responsibility in the value chain. However, the major challenge that has affected the fight against money laundering is the fact that our cultural and societal lifestyles do not support us. For instance, you find somebody who transfers laundered funds into a bank. This person is reported. One way or the other, the person has affiliation with a political party. So the moment the funds are frozen and investigation starts, you find major players in the industry who may be known to these suspects start making interventions. So the independence that stakeholders require in the enforcement of these rules that have been established sometimes are impaired. And the impairment of this independence has affected the fight of it. Again, for the persons who are involved in the fight, they have their lives to manage. They have their families to feed. So your ability to work well largely depends on how well the systems are working to protect you. So if today you are investigating a suspect and you know that these launderers have a syndicate that they work, and sometimes their network transcend across continents. So if you cannot be protected, definitely you would be cautious in your fight against money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism. I have friends who have headed compliance functions where some of these criminals who move funds around unleash people on them to beat them. Sometimes their kids are kidnapped. And so if these are the very difficulties you would have, clearly as a practitioner, you'll be careful in how you apply the rules and then the regulations. Sometimes the major dent in this fight has to do with tipping off. You find that people knowingly or unknowingly assist in tipping off these criminals. And the moment you tip off, you put the lives of stakeholders on the line. So the major inhibitors of our fight against terrorism have not really been setting the regulatory framework or the regulatory support. We have all the rules, we have all the directives that support it, but the operationalization and the support that is needed by these institutions to deliver on their responsibilities, a lot of the time has been missing. There is also interference from the political end, and sometimes our very cultural lifestyle do not support, such that if you are reporting a suspicious transaction of somebody who is known to you, you are tended to lean back and say that, what if my countryman is arrested? So I am a Wangara man, so if I have to report a Wangara chief for involving in money laundering, clearly in the Africa side of things, I would be cautious. And so that has really been a bane in our fight against terrorism. So like I have mentioned, what we have heard from our colleagues from Gambia, our colleagues from Sierra Leone, and our colleagues from Nigeria would not be materially different from what is happening in Ghana. So if we want to move on and fight these fraudsters or these criminals, we would need institutional support, institutional independence, and more importantly, there should be safeguards and protection for the people who are involved in this value chain of fighting AML and then CFT. So from the Ghanaian side, I think that the major challenges have been political interference, our cultural setup, and the lack of protection for those who are involved in the fight against money laundering, and more importantly, knowingly or unknowingly tipping off some of these investigations, which puts the lives of players on the line. So these are my comment from the Ghana side of the fight. So yeah, I think I would end here, and then you can give it up to the next speaker so that we can proceed from there. But like I mentioned, our circumstances are not the same, are not different, because we are all coming from West Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your presentation. We'll now call on Sir ERM Sam to give us his presentation on the case of Sierra Leone. Mr. Sam, please, you are welcome.
Hello, yeah. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Good evening. Yes, please, we can hear you.
Yeah. Good evening, all. I'm ERM Sam, presenting from Freetown, Sierra Leone. My presentation will be in twofold: the introduction, then the next one will deal with the AML CFT compliance and challenges. Now, let me underscore the fact that money laundering and terrorist financing remain the most significant threat undermining the peace, security, and financial stability of countries across the globe. The wider adverse implications of these threats are innumerable, especially for developing countries like Sierra Leone. ML and TF activities are known to lead in the increase in crime and corruption, disrupt the flow of foreign direct investment, weaken national institutions and the rule of law, as well as compromise confidence in private sector growth and development. In light of these threats, there is growing need for effective AML CFT compliance to be implemented by all stakeholders, comprising the supervisors, law enforcement agencies, the judiciary, and the private sector, in line with the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, 40 recommendations. In addition, stakeholders are expected to ensure that effective AML CFT compliance measures meet both technical compliance and effectiveness of the FATF methodology, which is largely informed by statistical information. Now let me move on to the AML CFT compliance and challenges as it is in Sierra Leone. From the FATF recommendations and methodology, there is clarity on their respective roles and expectations from stakeholders. Also, in spite of the progress made in areas of technical compliance, there remain significant challenges with respect to effective AML CFT compliance in Sierra Leone. For example, understanding of MLTF risk varies amongst different stakeholders. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, I said the understanding of MLTF risk varies among different stakeholders, while the supervisory authorities for financial institutions demonstrate good understanding of MLTF risk. The same cannot be said for supervisory authorities in the DNFBP sector. Furthermore, the same trend is observed for private sector, which constitutes both.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Please, there is an interference
Can you hear me?
with the microphone. If you could kindly check that for us.
Okay, all right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, let me continue. Sorry about that.
Yes, please.
Another challenge to effective AML CFT compliance is minimal or very limited statistics on the investigation and prosecution of MLTF cases. Majority of the investigations conducted by law enforcement agencies focus on the predicate offenses to MLTF rather than offenses of MLTF itself. Also, in instances where cases of MLTF are forwarded for prosecution, there appears to be inadequate knowledge of comprehending the fact, especially relating to ML activities. Despite these challenges, there is still room for improvement. Sierra Leone reasonably has the laws, regulations, and institutions for combating MLTF cases. What is required is for all stakeholders to embrace the work on the effective implementation of these laws and regulations in line with the required human, financial, and technical resources. Our major challenge in Sierra Leone is that we don't have the requisite manpower to do the work of AML CFT, although there is the willingness because we have the laws, we have the institution. For example, the Financial Intelligence Unit has been created, and we have other regulatory bodies. And in fact, our risk assessment, we understand our risk assessment, but interestingly, money laundering is the medium rating for Sierra Leone, and terrorist financing is low. But apart from that, we have set up a counter-terrorism unit in the Office of National Security as a way of demonstrating our commitment to counter terrorist issues. But what is missing is that we don't have the competent personnel. We don't have the basic logistics. For example, for cybercrime to be investigated by the law enforcement agencies like the police, they do not have the technical skills to do the job. They don't have skills like forensic skills to do this type of job. So it requires much from the government, the private sector, and the public sector to ensure that we all come on board. Yes. So thank you for listening.
Kindly give us your concluding remarks.
Yeah, my concluding remarks basically are that Sierra Leone is on the verge of taking steps to ensure that effective compliance. Although we have resource challenge, we have manpower challenge, but with the willpower of the government and the private sector, we'll be able to overcome that. Thank you. Hello, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Sir Ernest.
Thank you very much, Sir Ernest. I'm sure we'll be able to come back in during the Q&A to address some issues. Okay, please, I will now call. Yes, please, you can hear you. Thank you very much.
The connection today look poor.
Yeah, I can hear you from this end.
Hello. Hello, Sir Ishmael, please, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you from my own point.
Okay, so Ishmael, could you kindly take over?
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yes, thank you.
Once again, my name is Ishmael Ankra, a financial analyst by profession, and I will speak on the role of the FICs and touch a little on the case of FIC Ghana. Financial intelligence units play a central role in implementing effective and robust mechanisms to fight money laundering, terrorist financing, and proliferation. FIUs have been an integral part in the assessment of anti-money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism frameworks since the beginning. Suspicious transaction reporting systems position FIUs as the central bodies in the national anti-money laundering regime. National assessment of AML CFT regimes are conducted by the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, through its regional bodies, referred to as the FATF-style regional bodies. FATF assesses, conducts an independent review of the institutional frameworks, relevant AML CFT laws, regulations, guidelines, and other requirements, as well as checks for systems put in place to combat money laundering and terrorist financing, which may occur through financial institutions or DNFBPs. The assessors also examine the implementation and effectiveness of all these systems and mechanisms. Currently, Ghana has been placed on the FATF grey list, i.e. the observation list, and being monitored by the International Cooperation Review Group, ICRG, due to some deficiencies identified in our second round of mutual evaluation. Ghana has up to December 2020 to implement the ICRG action plan, which is a prerequisite for the country exiting the grey list. In response to this, the National AML CFT and Proliferation Policy 2019 to 2022 has been developed based on the vulnerabilities identified to serve as a roadmap to mitigate the money laundering, terrorist financing, and proliferation risk, and set out the goals and actions required to further strengthen the AML CFT regime of Ghana. This is not just to show the political will, but has also enabled a good number of the action items with timelines to be met. Some of the actions with timelines of December 2020 have also largely been addressed. Let me reiterate that the government of Ghana is committed to ensuring a safe and sound financial system by putting in place measures to adequately address the threats posed by money laundering and terrorist financing. The implementation of the policy would further deepen collaboration among stakeholders, strengthen the AML CFT supervisory regime, and enhance the capacity of law enforcement agencies, which will lead to an increase in money laundering, terrorist financing, and proliferation prosecutions, convictions, confiscations, and asset recovery. As part of measures put in place to assist accountable institutions in applying effective compliance in their operations, the FIC, being the designated agency to supervise the implementation of the action plans, has made it a duty to strengthen capacity and create awareness on how to achieve effectiveness among the accountable institutions and the general public as a whole. To empower FIUs to carry out their work effectively, it needs heightened capacity building efforts as well as robust IT systems to ensure its ability to transform data into financial intelligence. Rather, the Ghana FIC suffers from acute competition for scarce resources across government bodies, meaning here that AML CFT implementation must compete for limited resources with high priority issues that affect basic conditions in the country. Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you, yeah.
Thank you very much, sir, for your presentation. I will now call on Mr. Samudin Nasiru to take us through the role of investigative agencies. Mr. Samudin Nasiru was an assistant staff officer with EOCO and worked in internal control. He is currently a regulatory compliance manager, and he is here with us today to take us through the role of investigative agencies. So, Mr. Nasiru, please, you are welcome.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please, we can.
Okay, once again, we are all welcome to this edition of the presentation. As mentioned earlier, my name is Samudin Nasiru. The role of, we are looking at the role of investigative institution in the fight against money laundering. The focus of the role of investigative institution in Ghana will be on economic and organized crime office. Now, this office earlier on was established as Serious Fraud Office, and subsequently in 2010, an act of parliament was passed to increase the capacity and then the mandate of the office to include serious offenses like money laundering and other related offenses. So in 2010, Act 804 was passed in order to give and strengthen the office. We are looking at the role of economic and organized crime office in the fight against money laundering. We say that, or I used to say that during this type of interaction, is that there's no money laundering without crime. There would not be money laundering. So money laundering investigation always have to start off by determining the crime behind money laundering. So we are saying that money laundering would always be a secondary offense. And in our constitution or in our criminal codes, we have what we call predicate offenses. So currently, the criminal code has been amended. We call it Criminal Offences Act of 2019. So we zoom into the role or the various sections of the Economic and Organized Crime Office Act. Section 19 of that act talks about request for the information. Even before the Section 19, Section 18 of the act gives the Executive Director of Economic and Organized Crime Office and authorized officers of the office the powers and the immunities of the police. So the officer of the office can cause an arrest. Any activity that the policeman or the policewoman could do as a police officer with all the immunities accorded to the person, the officer of Economic and Organized Crime Office can equally do same. And in the act, Section 20 talks about power to search. We have Section 32, which talks about Mutual Legal Assistance Act. We also have Section 34, which talks about application of the freezing order. Now, with this one, the process is like you going to court to apply for ex parte motion. So you apply for ex parte motion, the court will grant to you. But let me add quickly that the chief executive officer or the managing director of the Economic and Organized Crime Office has the power to cause an arrest or has the power to search without recourse to the court. But they sometimes go to court to give themselves some level of comfort in order to exercise some of their rights. Then Section 35 talks about issues of freezing order. So in the case of banks, if a bank files an SCR to, say, a financial intelligence center, there's a tripartite committee or there's a tripartite communication between banks and then FIC. FIC would determine a prima facie evidence of investigation or a prima facie evidence of commission of crime. When that is established, they would take the matter to Economic and Organized Crime Office. Economic and Organized Crime Office will conduct their own investigations. If there are applicable charges or if applicable taxes, they will also communicate the details of the transaction to Ghana Revenue Authority so that the appropriate taxes will be paid on the proceeds of crime. So this proceeds of crime at this stage, the decision will be taken either to repatriate the funds back to the origin country or to give it to the beneficiary when as the case may be. Now, beyond this, we have challenges. We have challenges as institutions when we talk about fight against anti-money laundering. Some of these challenges in institutions included, but not limited to the following. We can look at it from the bank's perspective, and we can equally look at it from the investigative authority's perspective. Access to data. Now, when you talk about access to data, there are certain data that are classified. Let's, for instance, a PEP, a political exposed persons want to open an account. Before a political exposed person submits himself to open an account with a bank, he might as well have declared an asset, his asset with Auditor General. The bank as an institution will have to conduct the net worth on these political exposed persons. Hello, yeah, I hope I'm on the call.
Yes, please.
Because I can hear the place is so quiet. I'm not sure whether I'm being heard or not.
Yes, please, so you are.
Okay. So as I was saying, the PEP has already declared its assets.
Please, he can hear you.
Okay. The PEP has already declared this asset declaration with Auditor General Department. What prevents the bank from accessing this data so that you can perform the net worth on the PEP, such that you will know how to classify the PEP? And now there's risk-based approach to all these things. You know, as we say, not all PEPs will become high-risk accounts when they are run through the risk classification. Now, the second challenge has to do with on the same access to data, you would have sometimes unclear object clause or principal activities of businesses. Let's say, for instance, you are doing investigations, and when you check the principal activity of the entity, there you see import and export. You ask yourself, import and export of what? In most cases, you see general merchant of what? You see general goods. These are opaque descriptions of principal activities or nature of businesses, which does not give room or does not give much more information to the investigator so that they can link the transactions or the proceeds of crime to a particular activity, to the particular economic activity which is being produced. In most cases, you also see on principal activity dealing in oil and gas. And we all know that the oil and gas industry has the upstream, the downstream, and the dealers. But it is stated in the account opening pack, I am dealer in oil and gas. But it does not give you information as to whether the dealer is in the upstream or the downstream. In some cases, you see consultancy. You should always give detail such that if the investigator picks up the file, he can do justice to the work of the investigation. Part of the challenge in fighting money laundering in Ghana also has to do with the persistent use of cash transaction, because most of the sectors of the economy are in the informal sector. Most of the participants in the economy are in the informal sector. So they rely on cash transaction rather than the cash light or the cashless society, which the government of the day is championing. You also have multiple ID cards in Ghana. A person would open an account with a financial institution by the use of, say, a driver's license. The next moment, he goes to another financial institution, he opens it with a voter ID card. The next moment, he goes to another financial institution, he uses a passport. So if you have a plethora of all these ID cards, and we are saying all these ID cards are biometric, why don't we have a common platform such that we can link up all these biometric data so that we assign a unique identifier to every customer or a unique identifier to every citizen, such that we pick up your file and everything about you or everything that relates to you comes up. But the person, because he knows what he is doing, he would use passport for this transaction, the next moment he's using a voter ID card such that he would have the luxury of time to amend certain information and his biodata when he's dealing with what do you call it, financial institution or investigative body. Also, part of our challenge in Ghana is also insufficient or shortage of what compliance experts. You can have also sometimes intentional or inadvertent tipping off within the banking and other regulatory institutions. You can have also part of the challenge has to do with what related party transaction, and that has been featured. When you talk about related party, that is parties or businesses that are close linked to the financial institution. So the Act 930 or the Banks and Specialized Deposit Institution Act does not abhor related party transactions, but these transactions should be done at arm's length. That is to say that it should be done through fair means, such that an official bystander will not sit somewhere and say this transaction was treated with kid gloves, or this transaction has some level of opaqueness in it. So at this juncture, before I end, during the financial sector crisis, we also mentioned, or there has been attribution to corporate governance issues, where you have a CEO doubling as what do you call it, doubling as a board chair. These are all challenges, if they are able to solve, if you take political will to solve all these challenges, I think the fight against anti-money laundering will be a thing of the past. Yeah, this is all that I have to say on the topic. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you so much. Hello.
Thank you very much, sir, for your presentation.
All right.
Appreciate it. So next we have Mr. Anthony Appiah, and he'll be talking to us on the role of law enforcement agencies. Mr. Appiah is a financial crime investigator, and he was with us during the course, and he is back again as a panelist, and he'll be taking us through the role of law enforcement agencies. Mr. Appiah.
Yeah, hello, good evening. Can you hear me well?
Yes, please, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So
Hello,
as
please, we can
Ya
hear
said,
you.
thank you. So as Ya said, my name is Anthony Appiah. I do work in investigations, mostly related to commercial crimes and other things, which are obviously very similar to financial, what's it called, crime. I mean, they can be classed as a type of financial crime. So the gentleman who just spoke before me was speaking about investigative agencies. And I think that the lines may be a bit blurred between law enforcement and investigative agencies, because they all derive their powers from laws. And they are all obviously there to make sure that laws are not broken and that people are punished for when they do break the law. Now, the whole thing about money laundering is that it is because of crime. If there was no crime, there wouldn't be money laundering. So as a law enforcement agency, so for example, the police are a law enforcement agency. As a law enforcement agency, what you are really interested in is making sure that you get people committing these crimes and you prevent these crimes from happening. In the ideal world, there wouldn't be any laundering because there wouldn't be any crime in the first place. So that is where we have to start from. And we have to take the approach that obviously different types of crime have different risks of laundering money. So if someone is stealing something very, very petty, I mean, there's nothing like laundering involved. However, when you come to crimes like drug trafficking, that obviously has a very big, risk of, in fact, all drug proceeds are laundered. You cannot walk into a bank and say, I have this money from selling drugs. No. So the first thing we do is to make sure that people do not commit the crimes. However, of course, despite all the money every country spends on fighting crime, things still do happen. So we now take the approach of monitoring what is going on. Okay, so in terms of the monitoring, when we look at money laundering, we have to look at who are the people behind it. Okay, so when people are opening accounts, ideally, law enforcement should have the ability to link whoever is opening the account with some sort of with a criminal database, okay, such that we can prevent criminals from having a stake in banks or having a stake in what's it called, credit unions or in the casinos and all that. But currently, we don't have that capability. And as the previous speaker said, it's about information sharing. Okay, so whereas if you go to the United States, the FBI has the ability to do targeted SAR monitoring. So what they do is that they're able to get details of SARs, and they have a search engine optimization such that they can link one STR to their previous database of cases across all their sectors. So white collar crime, counterterrorism, counterintelligence, and all that. Okay, so they are able to do that. But in Ghana, we don't have that capability yet. And indeed, Mr. Ankra spoke about the fact that the FICs and are all fighting, they are fighting for limited government resources with, together with other state agencies. So we don't have that ability. But ideally, what the law enforcement agencies are to do is to be able to monitor people who are involved in the very risky businesses. Sorry, the very risky businesses in terms of businesses that have a high risk of facilitating money laundering. Now, apart from this, we can also look at the end game. Okay, so when I say the end game, I mean, what is law enforcement doing in cases where it is clear that there is some laundering and whatnot. Now, apart from IOCO, one very powerful organization in Ghana that most people do not know is the GRA, Ghana Revenue Authority. If you know some history, you would know that a very famous American criminal called Al Capone was actually caught for tax evasion rather than any of the numerous crimes that he committed. So the GRA, although we don't perceive it as a law enforcement agency per se, as we would perceive the police, for example, they actually have the ability. So if the GRA check your taxes and they realize that you haven't paid the right amount of taxes or you lied or whatever, they can actually charge you for that. And they can go after your property without recourse to a court. So when they do that and they send you a notice, you have 30 days within which you are supposed to challenge that. Okay, so if you do not challenge it within the 30 days, they can actually charge you and they can go ahead to sell your property or whatever it is. There's been a recent famous case of Bishop Obinim, who was charged in the same instance. The 30 days elapsed. He went to court and said, I didn't know. And the court said, well, you had 30 days, that's the law. So he has lost that. Okay. And another thing about this particular issue, the Obinim issue, is that churches have also come up as a possible, as a very likely way through which people will launder money. Okay. But like what the experience on the ground is that there have been very, very few cases of money laundering being investigated, being prosecuted, and people going to prison for that. Okay. And then we also have agencies like IOCO. In fact, recently I went somewhere near Trasaco. There's a building there which has a property under investigation by UN, and it says IOCO there. A very nice building, and they can actually do that. They can stop people from having access to it. So we do have those capabilities, and we can play the role from stopping crime in the first place. But if we are not able to, in terms of the investigation and all that, there's also the ability of the law enforcement agencies to help the states take back the assets that have been gained by indulging in crime. Because when you leave these things to fester, so for example, you go to countries like Mexico, where the cartels are even more powerful than the local, the state governments and whatnot, then you would have lost the fight, totally. So what we all hope for is that we are able to, as it were, take back things and prevent these agencies, these criminal organizations and whatnot, from becoming too big for us. So far in Ghana, we don't really have any evidence to suggest that there are, certain cartels and whatnot, operating, laundering money and whatever. However, like Mr. Nasiru said, there are some individuals who have political connections. And when their issues come up, it also becomes difficult for the agencies to follow through well. Okay. And there are issues of tipping off. Some people who've been in the banking industry for, I will tell you that there are cases where compliance officers' lives, are at risk. There are instances where a compliance officer will have to be taken home in the car boot because people are looking for him. So the law enforcement agencies also have that role to play in terms of protecting people who will come up with information. Okay, people who may come and say, look, I am seeing this going on. But most businesses don't care, because at the end of the day, it's the clients with the money that the banks like. The more money you have, the more interest that they make. So sometimes there's that conflict, there's that challenge. But if law enforcement is really playing its role well, it should encourage people to come up and offer information, offer tips, and all that. Okay, which will help us stem the tide. So in summary, I would say that the law enforcement and the investigation, they are all the same, except I would say that the role for the law enforcement begins with the commission of crime. Okay, all the way to checking, doing background checks. So in Ghana, the National Intelligence Bureau, now used to be the BNI, they do vetting. Okay, so they vet people, they vet ministers, they vet their own employees, and things like that. So they could play a role in terms of people who own certain types of businesses. Okay, to check them. Unlike the police background check, which just checks whether you have a criminal history, their background checks are more detailed. You can go all the way to the primary school, the nursery school that you went to. Okay, so we can bring
Hello,
in.
Sir.
Yes, madam.
Sir Anthony.
Yes, madam.
Kindly give us your concluding remarks on the role of law enforcement agencies.
Yes, so the role begins with, making sure that trying to fight crime in itself so that it doesn't grow, and there'll be the need to launder in the first place, checking people who are involved in the very risky businesses. Okay, and then when we do actually get on to people who are doing that, making sure that we take the assets so that other people will also, you know, think twice before they attempt to come in. Then we'll know that it doesn't really pay. In the end, we'll get you and you will lose your assets and all the things that you've gained from committing crimes. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Hello.
Please.
Yeah, please. I'm done. So I'll
Hello.
hold on for any questions.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Subsequently. All right. Bye.
Yes, please. Thank you very much. So we'll quickly take our last presentation by Sir Lamin from the Gambia, and he'll be talking to us about the role of the public sector, that's the designated non-financial businesses and professions. So please, Lamin, if you could give us a few words on the role of the DNFBPs. Thank you.
Yes, good evening. Hello.
Good evening.
Yes, well, for the case of the Gambia, where the DNABPs are actually listed as reporting entities under the AML safety law. They are reporting entities, and all reporting entities by law are supervised by the FIU. FIU is a supervisory authority over the reporting entities. However, the DNABPs are self-regulated. They regulate themselves, and within which they ensure compliance. The FIU, under the Anti-Money Laundering Act, had the powers to enforce any reporting entity to comply if a particular reporting entity does not comply with MLC Act, including the DNABPs. We have some DNABP that are regulated by the government departments, such as casino, and as well as the dealers in car and precious metals. Those sectors are regulated by public institutions. We have the lawyers are also regulated by the General Legal Council, which is also a public institution, because the Chief Justice, the Attorney General, and members of the bar are actually a member of the council. The real estates are not yet regulated. They don't have a supervisor, and that is one of the challenges we have. The DNOBPs contribute greater sector to the economic of this country, and they are high risk in terms of ML and as well as TF, according to our NRA, various sectors. Their vulnerability are actually different depending on which sector that particular DNABP plays in the economy of the country. So thank you. That is my short presentation as far as DNABP is concerned in the Gambia. We had relevant law that actually empowers supervisors and as well as reporting entity to ensure DNABPs complies with the AML safety measures. However, we have challenges as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I would like to thank all our panelists for their presentations on the various stakeholders and jurisdictions on the topic AML CFT effective compliance in West Africa. We have a number of questions from our various platforms. So I will read the question and then any of our panelists can pick it up and answer the question. So our first question from YouTube is, how would I handle a request by a senior executive of my company to violate a company's code of conduct? The question again, how would I handle a request by a senior executive of my company to violate a company's code of conduct? So please, any of our panelists can pick this question up and answer for us. Thank you.
Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Hello.
Yes. Yes. In my opinion, I expect every staff, whether you have taken an oath or not, but you owe allegiance and professional standards to any companies that you serve. You have a fiduciary duty to an obligation to protect code of conduct and regulations to the institution you serve, not the boss that actually heads the organization. If such issues come up, I will actually bring it to his attention that with due respect and in appropriate manner, that this is not in line with the standards and procedures laid down by the regulations of the company, in a bid to inform him that we have an option, but the manner in which you requested for me to do will actually lead to a violation of, and I suggest we do it this way rather than actually carrying on a duty that will actually breach the code of conduct, and you might be sanctioned. And most of these directives requests are not documented, and the boss might actually say, no, I will not, I did not actually instructed him. He did it on his own. Thank you. That is my little contribution that.
Hello, yeah. If I may come in here.
Hello, Mamiya.
Yes, please, you may.
Okay, so just to add to what my colleague, said, it's important that we follow standard procedures within the organization. So if your boss asks you to do something that is not documented, obviously you would politely ask your boss to send you instructions, documented instructions to help you do that. If your boss insists on pushing you to do to breach the code of conduct, that is why within the organizations there is a whistleblow regime, and so what you need to do is that you take
Hello, sir. I think your line is breaking.
a request for documentary instructions. If that is not done and you are being harassed, blow the whistle and seek for protectionist cover under the whistle blowing policy regime. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I'll present my second question. The second question also from YouTube. What are the benefits of identity and AML check tools? So the second question, what are the benefits of identity and AML check tools? So please, this is to the panelists.
Okay, yeah, if I may take that one too.
Yes, please.
Okay, so we all agree that these days a lot of transactions happen on electronic channels. And for electronic channels, you have volumes. For instance, if you take mobile banking, both the ones that happen on mobile app and USSD, you take internet banking, you take ATM transaction. These are volumes. So if you want to use manual regimes to track this one, you would definitely be unable to do it. But if you have tools, which tools have the appropriate business rules, business rules for purposes of fraud and suspicious transactions tracking. It helps you by the click of a button to pick a red flag so that you would have a fine detail of inconsistencies that you have to investigate, rather than being saddled and overwhelmed by volumes that you cannot actually handle manually. So it improves the process of transaction sanction screening, and more importantly, reduces the vulnerabilities of the regulated financial institution or accountable institution as far as the responsibilities under the AML rules are concerned. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I'll move on to the third question. How does money laundering through how does money laundering work through artworks, and which are the most notorious cases? How does it affect the art market? So please, this question is about money laundering through artworks and how it affects the art market, with a focus on the case in.
Yeah, hello. Hello.
Please, this question is open. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to say that the art market is particularly vulnerable to money laundering because of the subjective pricing that exists in that market. So what is worth 1 million to me, somebody can come to the same evaluation and say it costs 10 million. Okay. So that makes the art market very, very vulnerable. There's a lot of anonymity in that market. So people will have somebody else buy art on their behalf. So coupled with the opportunity to inflate prices, and also the opportunity to hide ownership, I guess it really seems to be the perfect match for people to engage in money laundering. Okay, so that is something about the art market that makes it I wouldn't want to use the word good, but it makes it easy for people to launder money in that market.
Yeah, if I may.
Thank you very much, sir.
If I may add something.
Yes,
briefly.
please.
So,
yes, please.
These days there is the talk of value. There is a talk of value laundering. There is a talk of value laundering, and that well sits in the explanation the previous colleague just gave. When we talk of value laundering, you say you have monies in Ghana, for instance, that you want to move across another country. Then you get this artwork, which value is very subjective, like the early speaker mentioned. So you agree that it is $1 million. There is no standard market to benchmark fair values for artwork. And once there is no standard market, once you have the invoice for it, you pay and you have moved value. So that is to add to what the previous speaker gave.
Yeah. Hello?
Yes, please. Thank you very much. Yes, please.
Yeah. If I may add something to what has already been said, I think I would entreat our border officials to really look out for such stuff, because mostly people don't look out for artworks, and especially other stuff like jewelry, because it's another way of washing and clean money. Sometimes when these criminals want to move money from one jurisdiction to the other, what they do is they buy expensive stuff, i.e. it could be artwork, it could be some jewelry they will just put on their neck, or maybe they have a nice piece of art by their side. And when they show it to you, you might be looking through their bags and rather forget these wonderful pieces around them. Because who really cares about the jewelry you are wearing when you are traveling or when you are crossing the border? But that is where the criminals are using now to launder their funds. So they move into the jurisdiction they want to, then they just sell it off and get their money, cool cash. And this time around, they will be coming from a recognized institution into their money, into their account, sorry, and that is it. So I really entreat everybody, be it the border patrols, the immigration officers, to be looking out for such stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'll read the next question from LinkedIn, and it reads, how can MLTF affect the financial sector? That is the severity of MLTF on the financial sector or financial institutions. So please, this is the question here.
Yes, let me throw in a little bit to that others can pick up.
Yes, please.
Yes, the severity of ML safety is when a country fails to put up proper, the goal of the ML safety is prevention. When a particular country fails to put up proper measures to stop the money laundering, there will be an illicit flow into the economy. And the real wealth of the economy might not even be known. And that will affect the GDP and as well as the cash flow of the economy. And it will affect the development of a nation, the entire economy. So imagine if somebody brought in a huge amount of money into the real estate business and or that are laundered funds, and he has invested in that real estate and devalue the properties. He will actually create unnecessary pressures to genuine businesses that are actually in that sector. That will affect an economy because this particular individual, he wants to wash the illicit funds and get his money. He doesn't care, and then go back into wherever he wants to invest as if he has done a business that was genuine during the layering, and as well as once he integrates the funds, he will quit that particular business, and that will affect the industry of that. Imagine like the bureau de change. If I come with let's say $1 billion and I registered a bureau de change in Ghana, I may actually lower the exchange rate below, and I'll give pressures to all those actually registered and affect their prices and as well as their profit, and that will kind of affect the economy. That is my little contribution towards that.
Yeah, I want to add on to that. I think the question had a bit of a focus on the financial sector.
Yes.
Now, banks basically operate under the assumption that all of their depositors will not come for their money at once. Okay, so if we were all to go to our banks right now and ask for money, the banking system would collapse. Okay, that is what we call a bank run. Now, for people who are laundering money, their deposits and withdrawal trends are not, or behaviors are not predictable. So if you are a financial institution and you have laundered funds, which you may not be so certain as to when they would come for that money, okay? And indeed, they wouldn't give you a heads up, just like everybody else. But money launderers are especially different from any normal person in terms of they may leave the money there for a very long time, but you can't really predict, okay? So when you have that and you are making, you are giving out loans and you are doing a lot of things based on those laundered funds, Now, the day may come when these launderers can just suddenly come for their money. Okay, they can take everything, they can transfer. In the more erratic cases of those laundering money, the money comes in within a short period of time. It's gone back. Okay, and the more a bank has fewer deposits in comparison to the loans that it has given and all that, then that bank becomes riskier, and it runs a very high chance of going down, or the bank may actually end up paying more for going to borrow money elsewhere to support the bank's operations. Because as a lot of people in banking will tell you, deposits are a very cheap source of funds. Okay, so in terms of the financial sector, it makes planning difficult for the banks. It will increase their costs if they keep on allowing or getting money from laundress into their banks. That's what I can also think of to add to this.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very Hello. Thank you very much for your contribution. Please, are there any questions from the participants on the platform? Please, if you have a question, you can unmute your mic and ask. Okay, I'll read another question from Facebook. Please, if you have a question, kindly note. So this question reads, is there a sociological theory that explains a social system's reaction to threats? Is there a sociological theory that explains a social system's reaction to threats? So please, this is a question to ask. Hello. Please, I'll read the question again.
The question again.
Okay, it reads, is there a sociological theory that explains a social system's reaction to threats? So this question is from Facebook and it reads, is there a sociological theory that explains a social system's reaction to threats? Hello, please can we have one of our panelists taking this question?
If Augustina, if you are on, kindly assist. Yeah, I think the network is misbehaving.
Hello, please can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Hello, please can you hear me?
Hello, please can you hear me? Hello, please can you hear me?
Yes, please.
The question
can hear you.
Is there
okay,
a
please, the question
sociological theory that explains the question reads, is there a sociological theory that explains a social system
Is there a sociological theory that explains a social system's threats, reaction?
Hello. Hello, Sina, please, can you hear me? Hello, please. Okay, so thank you very much. We've come to the end of our Q&A, and I hope that we were able to pick up some valuable lessons. I would, however, give opportunities . Hello, please, if you can hear me, you can kindly unmute and everyone can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, I can hear you from here.
Yeah, I can hear you as well.
I can hear you too.
It's clear from my end.
Thank you.
I can hear you too.
Thank you very much. Okay, so as stated earlier, we had the Advanced Financial Crime Investigation and Anti-Money Laundering course. And we have our graduates here with us. So we will call on the graduates who display their certificates on the screen. We'll share the screen so that the certificates are displayed, and we'll mention your name, after which you can quickly unmute and acknowledge your certificate. So I'll humbly call on Mr. Kamagati to award to give the recognition awards. That is for the students who excelled in various aspects of the course. We have 4 recognition awards. We have an award for class participation. That is those who were always present in class and always contributed. We have awards for outstanding performance. We have the outstanding performance is based on the exam that was taken. That is the highest score. Then we have an award for the overall best student, that is accumulating the scores for the exam, class participation, and class attendance. We also have an award for a youth ambassador, that is our youngest representative here with us. So we want to encourage our youth to join in. So I'll call on Mr. Kamagati to award our participants. Sorry, I'll call on Samuel Taki Welbeck to award our participants. Mr. Nitaki. Hello, sir. Kindly unmute your mic and help us with the presentation. Thank you. Please, I'll call on Madam Augustina Osei. She is the head of finance and administration for ERM Africa, and I'll humbly ask that she awards the participants. So Madam Tina, kindly award our participants.
Hello, yeah, thank you. The Certificate of Excellence, ERM Africa awards Gertrude Adjoa Hagan for her outstanding performance in advanced financial crime investigation and anti-money laundering. Gertrude Hagan, congratulations.
Hello, thank you.
You're welcome. The next award goes to Ernest Sam for his outstanding class participation in advanced financial crime investigation and anti-money laundering. Ernest Sam, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Certificate of Excellence, ERM Africa awards Lamin Jaju for his outstanding class participation in advanced financial crime investigation and anti-money laundering. Sir Lamin Jaju, congratulations. And the overall best Certificate of Excellence, ERM Africa awards Gertrude Adjoa Hagan for being the overall best student in advanced financial crime investigation and money laundering.
I'm Bitriso.
Congratulations for being the overall best student.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Hello, yeah.
Thank Thank you very much, Madam Osei, for the presentation. We will now move on to the presentation of certificates for the Advanced Financial Crime Investigation and Anti-Money Laundering. So after the 3-week course, our participants took an exam, and this certificate is to award them for successfully going through the entire process. So we will call on Mr. Ishmael Ankra to award our participants for the Advanced Financial Crime Investigation and Anti-Money Laundering. So Sir Ishmael will mention your name, and when he mentions your name, kindly unmute quickly and accept your award. Sir Ishmael, please, over to you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Congratulations to Abdul Majid Saliu Maiwada for your participation in the Advanced Financial Crime Investigations and Anti-Money Laundering course.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Aya Ernest Sam, congratulations for your participation in the Advanced Financial Crime Investigation and Anti-Money Laundering course.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Aliu Sadiq Wali, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Next one, please. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Can we move to the next one, please?
Yes, please. Sorry, there's a technical challenge. We'll address it shortly.
Okay, that's fine.
Hello, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, please. We've already mentioned this one. Oh, okay.
We have here Aliu Sadiq Wali. Sir Aliu Sadiq.
I just mentioned that one.
Okay.
Received.
Okay, so Daniel Okine.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. Daniel Oponchecheku.
Thank you.
Day Salome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Francis Nyaku. Francis Nyaku. Gertrude Ajwa Inshira Hagan.
Thank you.
Gifty Asantua.
Thank you.
Gloria Adazi.
Thank you very much.
Isafun Senam Amematekpo.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Sir Ishmael. At this point, I'll call Dr. Damwa Obibeko, who is the Executive Director of ERM Africa. Dr. Damwa Obibeko.
Yep. So good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Thank you very much, sir. Kindly help us with the awarding of the certificate so you can mention
Okay, so the one
person's name
the one on the screen, right?
And the person will receive it.
Okay, so this goes to Ishmael Ankara.
Yes,
Thank
please.
you very much.
Okay, so we have Kinhedi Latifat Adeboye.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're happy to have you from Nigeria, right?
Yes, please.
Excellent. Right, the next one goes to Kojo Ampofo.
Thank you, sir.
Kojo, well done.
Thank you.
Okay, the next is to Lamin Jaju.
Thank you.
Excellent, Jaju.
Please.
Na Afiye Ayima Welbeck.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now well done.
Thank you.
Next is to Patrick Michelson Gibber.
Thank you very much.
Well done, say. Samira Bello.
Doctor, they call me.
I'm here. Thank you.
Excellent, Samira. Okay, Sina, sorry. Okay, so Susie Ai. Do we have Ai? Okay, Tracy Davis.
Thank you very much.
Osman Wada Kurawa.
Thank you very much.
Osman, well done. Okay, so the next one goes to Welbeck Okele Imbi Roots.
Thank you, sir.
Root, congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time. Thank you for sharing for helping us present the certificates. We are very grateful. So we call on all our graduates and say a very big congratulations to you. Thank you for being with us through these 3 weeks. We appreciate you so much, and we hope that you continue on this path and that you continue to help us fight crime, fight financial, economic, and organized crime, and help us through as we go on this charge to improve ourselves and improve our respective nations and institutions. Thank you very much, and congratulations on your graduation. You are now officially Advanced Financial Crime Investigation and Anti-Money Laundering certificate holders, and I hope that you continue to pursue this career path. Also note that this certificate gives you the opportunity to take the CAMS examination, gives you the credit hours you need to take the CAMS examination, so you can apply for the CAMS after to become a certified specialist. Now I will move on to the last batch of awardees. We have with us participants who have already gone through the Certified Anti-Money Laundering Effectiveness course, and now they are certified specialists. So I will call on Sir Ishmael again to award the Certified Anti-Money Laundering Effectiveness Specialists. Sir Ishmael.
Yeah. Samuel Opoku.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Go on with it.
And for our final certified awardee, we have Rizwan Ali Ramzan.
Guys, thank you very much. I'm humbled.
Now we've received our certificates, we've received training on AML CFT, so we want to know what is next. So we call on Mr. Anthony Tenge, who is an AML FC consultant, to briefly take us through opportunities in the field of AML CFT. Mr. Tenge, please, you are welcome.
Thank you. I don't know if you can hear me. Today the network has not been too helpful, but I hope you can hear me. And I've tried to put my video on. I don't know if you can see me.
Yes, please, we can hear you.
Okay, all right. So congratulations to all our participants, and just to give you some breath of fresh air, given that already we've had a long session already. So I want to just share a story of my own personal experience within this AML framework that we find ourselves in, the environment. So I got introduced to the AML whole activity somewhere around 6 to 7 years ago, where Dr. Warbeck was my lecturer in university, and we're kind of a first batch of the postgraduate course that we had organized by the ERM Institute. Down the line, I was working in a branch in a bank, one of the tier 1 banks in Ghana. And then I had to, I was then that the banks were the Bank of Ghana had institutionalized the need for banks to have money laundering officers and all of that. So my bank, I had to join the team of the AML team in the bank. And, along the line, I rose through the ranks, became a sanctions analyst. And then fast forward, I left as head of financial crime, subunit head of financial crime within the bank. So the course has been very, very beneficial to me. Along the line too, I got certified as a certified anti-money laundering specialist, which has been very, very helpful to me. So now what I do is that I work with one of the a UK company which is regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. So I work for a UK firm. Now I'm sharing this with you so you could see the vast number of opportunities out there for us. So because I've been able to do a course like this, and I've been able to go on to get my certification and become a certified anti-money laundering or a specialist, so many job opportunities have come towards my doorsteps. And I know a lot of you may have been working, may work now. Some I've taken note of the fact that some are still students and all of that. So just to put it in perspective, okay, there are several opportunities out there for us. Now, what I do within the bank in the UK, regulated in UK, is that I kind of have an oversight with correspondent banking relationships so across the African region. So we've been to Sierra Leone, Gambia, and other parts of the West African region where we have clients there. So what we do is try to upskill that correspondent banking relationship to an international level. Now, it is because of my background, having been able to expose myself to these kind of trainings and being able to upgrade myself. So, I mean, just to put some numbers to the opportunity. So you can be maybe a financial crime investigator. And in the UK, you could be earning somewhere around, I did a little research before I came. You could be earning somewhere around £45,000 a year. £45,000 a year is like about £3,750 a month. We are looking at 29,000 Ghana cedis a month. I'm sure that sounds very interesting. We are looking at $5,000 a month. We are looking at about 259,000 dollars for the Gambians. We're looking at about 51 million leones for Sierra Leone, our Sierra Leone participants. We're looking at about 1.9 million naira. So the opportunities are there. We should not limit ourselves within our jurisdiction. We should try and, because of COVID and everything, a lot of my colleagues are working in Ghana, but they are still working for international companies because there's so much work and they need people on contract basis and all of that. If you're able to rise through the ranks and become a money laundering officer, you're looking at about £80,000 a year, and this is something that we should also look at it. I mean, aside the monetary bit of it where we might be excited with, the fight against money laundering is something that obviously we are interested in. So it is something that we are all championing. So apart from the monitoring aspect, getting the job, you can have jobs in insurance. Now it's a mandatory place to be where you need money laundering officers in banks. It's now mandatory. Insurance companies are having it mandatory now. A lot of securities agencies and all of these things. Central banks are looking for people with these kind of expertise. And you can be looking at things like correspondent banking relationship, transaction monitoring, sanctions analysts, advisors. All these are obvious opportunities that we can all explore. So I would entreat that, I know we've had a long day, but I would entreat that we should look beyond this certification and then try and get, pick a mentor. I mean, talk to people around you. The exposure is good. Now we have friends within the sub-region. Now I know when I come to Gambia again, I may be looking for, I've forgotten the name, is it Lamin? When I come to Nigeria, I'll be looking for one of the other guys. When I go to Sierra Leone again, I'll be looking for, so let's try to create the network when it comes to the UK, Ghana, we can always, interact. So let's try and create a network. Let's try as much as possible to, as it were, keep the participation going. And I believe that aside the monitoring aspect, which is quite good, I can assure you, there's the bit about the fight against money laundering, terrorist financing, and all those other things also is at the back foot. And we are more like ambassadors in this fight. So I once again congratulate you all again, and I wish you all the very best. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation, sir. I hope we have benefited a lot from this presentation and that we can learn more about or research more about the opportunities that are in the field of AML CFT. Now I would humbly call on Madam Ruth Welbeck, who is our youngest participant, to briefly, in just a minute, tell us about her opinion or her experience with us on this course. So Madam Ruth Welbeck, please. Congratulations on winning your award. Thank you for being with us. Please, in just about a minute, kindly tell us about your experience with us.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. I am Ruth Okanle B. Welbeck, and I just completed my senior high school education. This advanced financial crime investigation and AML training has taught me a lot about detection, prevention, and investigation of money laundering and its predicate offenses. I've also learned of the laws and policies that have been implemented to combat money laundering and terrorism finance. But as time went on, the concept and understood better. I can confidently say that this program has made a tremendous impact in my future endeavors. I want to say a very, very big thank you to ERM Africa for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Ruth Welbeck. We will take a final contribution from Madam Salome Day. Madam Salome, please tell us about your experience, after which we will end the session.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, good evening once again. I will say a very big thank you to my facilitators of our program and also my colleagues as well. I will thank you for enabling me to conduce this virtual platform. The topics and the lectures have been an eye-opener to me in particular. I am sure I wouldn't be the only one to appreciate the experience gained on this platform. I will really recommend this institution to everyone, and also I will want to be one of very good students, and also once again say a very big thank you to everyone. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Salome. Hello, thank you very much. Okay, so I would like to thank all our participants, all our facilitators, panelists for your time. We really appreciate you. I want to thank all our partners for their time as well. And I'd like to say a number of us are quite excited, and I'd like to remind you that we have an AML Community Africa. It is a WhatsApp platform where there are diverse group of AML professionals come together, share ideas, share their thoughts, share their experiences. So please, if you are interested in joining that platform, kindly send me a message and I will add you onto that platform. Also, our WhatsApp platform is not going to be deleted. It's still going to be active, so we can stay there and still share our experiences and help each other in the field of AML, CFT, and financial crime. I'll now call on Dr. Obi Beekun, who is the Executive Director of ERM Africa, to give us the concluding remarks. Dr. Obi, thank you very much.
All right, yeah, so thank you so much. So once again, good evening to each and everyone. I hope everybody can hear me, right? So thank you for the opportunity to come your way for the second time. I like to thank the facilitators and also the organizers, and most importantly, all the graduates. And I do hope, and I can also confirm that by coming through the course, value for money has been received. I want to congratulate you for the commitment since the beginning, going through to the end. Thank you for the professionalism. And just like it has been said, that you're going to make good use of this. And we thank you so much for coming. And I'd like to also encourage you that, just as I said at the intro section, by coming on board, you're going to remain our alumni for life. So I'd like us to keep in touch from time to time and then spread whatever we do to your professional network. We thank you so much and have a wonderful evening. God bless you to everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your time. Please note that ERM Africa has a number of courses, and you can visit our website for the various courses that we offer. Kindly follow our social media platforms as well for regular updates on the courses that are going to be run or organized. So on Facebook, you can find us as ERM Africa. We are ERM Africa on YouTube and LinkedIn as well. On Twitter, we are at ERM_Africa. And on Instagram, we are ERM_Africa. So on all the platforms, if you type in ERM Africa, you are going to find us there, and you can follow us, subscribe to our channels and platforms, and you would get regular updates from us. Always feel free to email us, call us, or WhatsApp us as well, and we'll be ready to give you any updates that you need. Please, the physical certificates are going to be ready in about 2 weeks. So kindly note that in about 2 weeks, you can come in or ask for delivery for your certificates, and they will be delivered to you, or you can come and pick them up at the office on campus. The ERM Africa office is on campus, so you can either come to campus for it, or we'll have it delivered to you. Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate every one of you. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. God bless you.
Thank you very much. It was an honor.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I hope the PDF will be sent to us on our emails. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Let's explore the opportunities. There are many opportunities. Let's explore it. Okay. Let's keep in touch.
Yes.